photo here with Stamp the Love, and it's Make It Monday. Tonight is a recorded version because it is a class night, and tonight I have 4 great projects to show you that we're going to be doing in class, and lots of techniques to share with you. So stay with me till the end because I think that you'll not want to miss any of them. Yeah, grab a coffee if you need, and maybe a notepad. Be ready to even do some screenshots. I like to do that when I'm watching videos so that I can save ideas that I like. So hopefully I don't fly through anything too fast that you can't do that. But so welcome aboard. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoy what you see, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. Comments are really, really appreciated. I do love seeing comments, and just knowing that you're here is helpful. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can make sure that you follow me so that you'll get to see all the videos as they come out. And the same on Facebook, I guess. If you follow me, you'll be able to see when these are live. But every Monday night on Facebook, you'll find me at 8 o'clock, typically, unless something happens. But yeah. So just want to remind you that these projects can be yours with a purchase of $50 online. Of course, I do have classes this week, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'd love to see you at class as well. I enjoy teaching in person so that you've got everything that you need right there at your fingertips. But if you're not at a place where you can come to a class, I can send you the projects and then you can work on them with your own supplies at home. So $50 order, and the link is right above you there. And so you can check that out and go ahead and get some supplies that you might need. All right, so let's get to our first project. Okay, our first project features the beautiful Christmas Greenery Bundle. I bought this mainly for the dies, but I found out, very thankful that I bought the bundle because it is a 2-step process for the stamp, and I love it. I hope that you're going to enjoy it as well. We actually use this for my last Stamp-A-Stack, and I'll show you that later. I'll show you those projects after I finish here, but this is what we're going to work on first. So let me put that aside and put that there so I can see it. I did set my Stamparatus up because it was easier to cut everybody's, well, if I can get a hold of it here, white piece. So I set this up so that we can just pop this in here and ink it up. We're going to use Memento Black. Got my stamp sticking to it. Use my little tool that Karen made for me. And there we go. We set that aside. All right, now we're ready to do our 2-step stamping for this. And we're going to start with Pool Party for the flower. It looks greenish. I'm hoping that it was cleaned after my Stamp-A-Stack, but I'm going to stamp it on scrap just in case. Okay, it looks okay. You don't know if they're stained or... Unfortunately, I am going to have to stick my head in the camera because you want to come right down on top of these to line them up. And they line up so perfectly. Ta-da! Let me zoom in just a tad. I have to think how to zoom in. Here we go. There we go. Isn't that cool? Look how perfectly lined up those are. Sometimes they make things not to line up perfectly, but I have to tell you, I know a lot of you are like me, and you like things that are going to line up perfectly. Here's our little greenery, or our green leaves at least. And, you know, you look at this And you would never know that they are all the same, right? I was like, there's no way that these are all going to line up in here. And they do. All right. And then we're going to use Mossy Meadow to ink. This is actually the greenery. And I'm not going to worry too much about where that goes. As long as it's in the vicinity. We'll get one down here. And then the last thing that we do for this particular one with the two-step is the little bow. And this lines up perfectly too. Is this cool or what? I don't think I got that perfect, but it still looks fairly decent. All right, now I do need my red. And did I bring a cleaner? Of course I did not, but I do have this, so let's use that because I don't want this staining any more than it already is. You can see it's already quite stained. I'll just wash these real quick. Then we'll know they're clean for the next time, right? Okay. Now I'm going to take a little piece that I have die cut out. Thank you, Barbara, for die cutting most of this for me. Most of the projects for class. This one I'm going to try to line up without the Stamparatus. And there we go. That's not too bad. I'll clean that in a second. Then this one gets a little center that will set that off. Isn't that cute? And I think we are finished with our stamping. Let me just close these real quick. All right, I'm going to just zoom back out just a tad. All right, so I'm using Pretty in Pink because it goes with the color somewhat in our designer paper. This is our traditional Christmas. I believe it's called designer paper. But I did want to, since I'm highlighting Pool Party in this card, I did want to change the background of this to Pool Party. And I think maybe if I just show you how this looks without that, I can sell you on this idea. How you can change that background so that it fits what you're going with. So right now, there's nothing that says why these flowers should be Pool Party, right? Because we're going to pull in gold, we're going to pull in Mossy Meadow, and that's not going to help us with the Pool Party. We are going to die cut. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm using our new 3-banner punch to die cut just the centerpiece. And get that out of the way. So we will have a little bit of Pool Party there. So that's doable because we did use that twice. That's my typical rule, is to use a color twice so that it's pulled together. But I still like, what did I do with my brush? I still like this idea. Let me just bring this in here. So you can see the Pool Party in the background there and how that really pulls that blue together. All right, so hopefully I sold you on that idea. Now, I'm not going to see all of it, so I'm going to just highlight this up here. And I don't want to change the color of my flower, so I'm just going to stay basically in the white area. Maybe I won't make it quite as dark as I did on my sample. And I'm okay if this white flower here gets to be a little bit blue because we did make our flowers blue. All right. So I think we'll leave it like that. And now we're just ready to put everything together. Let's get rid of this pad. So we're going to start with a layer of Pretty in Pink. And this is just a 5 1/4 by 4. And then this layer with the, I think it's called Beautiful Pattern Embossing Folder. I don't know if you can see that really nice crosshatch pattern in the back. Really happy that we have something very neutral. You can use it for so many things. And this is 3 3/4 by 5. Or 5 by 3 3/4. If we want to stay consistent with what I said before. All right, now we'll put this piece that we embossed in our background. Again, this is, I believe, the Traditions of Christmas designer paper, and it is not available right now. I think it's not available till like mid-December. Fortunately, I had gotten a bunch of it because I knew I wanted to use it for Stamp-A-Stack and for retreat things, so I was able to have enough to do this with. But this paper is not Traditions of Christmas. This is, I think it's called Full of Beauty. I got this idea of using this pink from somebody. I apologize, I don't remember who that was, but I loved how it went with the Pretty in Pink, and it came out when our Pretty in Pink came out, back out as an in color. So it is on the discontinued list, but it's still available, so I was able to get some for this. All right, and then we're just gonna tuck our greenery behind here. Let's see if our glue that's been sitting here all week is gonna come out for us. That looks good. Just gonna bring that up there along that pink piece. And let's go ahead and pop this up with some dimensionals. And there's one more here. And then maybe we can use this piece down here. Since I have that off, we might as well tuck that in there. Just get these outside ones off here. I missed that one. All right. Whoops. Now, before I do put that down there, I know I want to tuck this in, and I'm worried that my dimensional might be in the way. So I'm gonna go like this, and then I'm gonna tuck that in there before I stick this down. There we go. All right, and this, I'm not going to stamp on this because we're going to use a really cool gold foiled Christmas sayings, and I unfortunately think that they are out too. Give me 1 second. Let me just check here really quick. As demonstrators, we're able to look at an inventory status list. So if you ever have questions, don't be afraid to ask. There, you know, like I needed silver foil this week and it's out. I couldn't get that. It's called Greetings for You Mix and Match, and they should be back in about a week, hopefully. A lot of stuff should be coming in November 17th. The same with, you know what? I don't see the designer paper on here, so I think it's available. The Traditions of Christmas. How cool is that? Nice to have that back. All right, I'm going to tuck that on there, and then we're going to use these gold foil pieces. I'm going to use the Marion Bright here. There's 3 different sheets in the pack, and you get like 3 of each, I believe. Let me just see how that is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's 3 sheets, and I think it's 3 of each. And they are adhesed already, so you can just peel the back off of that. And I'm going to stick that to my blue tag, and you'll see how it really makes that pop. And we still have a nice amount of blue around there. Last but not least, well, not last, maybe, because we're going to add some gems, but we're going to pop up this little red flower that we did, and you can put that wherever. We'll pop it here like it's in that bouquet, maybe. And that pulls our reds together, so we've got some reds in here. Hopefully your piece has red in it when you get it. I do want to just remind you that with a $50 order, at least guaranteed until the 15th of this month, and I know I'm going to be running out because I have a lot of new team members, and they get this class for free for 6 months as long as they're placing their online orders. So yeah, that's gonna, and I have 10, so I haven't heard from all of them, so I'm guessing not everybody wants it. But anyways, let's add our gems, and we are going to use the traditional sparkling sequins. We've been using those a lot, but it's so cool because there's so many great colors. Now we've got Pool Party here, so we could use Pool Party or gold. And so I know that I'm using gold on another card. So I think I'm going to use the Pool Party here, and that will again add a little bit width to that Pool Party in our card and soften the pink a little bit. What do you think? All right, that is it for that one, folks. Let's pop to another one. Oh, before I do that, let me just show you the other cards that we did for the Stamp-A-Stack with this set. So here's one. Gotten the ink a little bit there, but there we used the Pretty in Pink flowers to pull out the flowers from this piece of the paper. And this I used... This layout I've done before. It works really good with a 6x6 if you have 6x6 paper, but fortunately this one was 12x12. So this is 5 1/4 by 6, and then it's scored at 2 inches here. We just did some stamping in here. It looks like I need to erase some adhesive there. So we did that one. This really highlights the paper, the gorgeous paper, and a few of the tags. I realize that I'm still zoomed in pretty far. This one uses the embossing folder, that wreath embossing folder. Just added some watercolor to that. Again, using the same designer paper here. And then this one, I did use, I got this idea from somebody, and I apologize again. It's been a while since I made this card, so I'm not even sure, but this is from our little tags. It's a little tag set. It's just a tiny little set, but it has this cute little paper clip in it. And I thought that was gorgeous. And it cut this edge of the designer paper here. Okay. But don't you just love these holly leaves and berries? So the holly berries in here, I put packing tape over top of my red cardstock, and then we cut the berries out, and that's what they just are shiny already. So I didn't have to add anything else to them. All right. If you like these cards, I do have exactly 1 pack of the Stamp-A-Stack still available. You can reach out to me if you want that. And it is $45. So holler, it's first come, first serve. All right, let's go to our next card. Okay, our next project is this beautiful peacock and green card with snowflakes, and this features our Snowy Delights bundle, and that bundle includes the stamp set, the dies, and a set of masks. And we're going to highlight the masks today because that's the main reason I bought this, because I thought, how cool is that there's so many different layers that I can add to this card and just create a beautiful snowflake. So come along for the ride. I think you're going to enjoy this, hopefully as much as I did making it. I am going to position this on my Stamparatus. You don't have to have a Stamparatus to do this, but because I have this surface and it will work nice for my classes, you just need to put your paper on a surface that can that you can tape it down. I didn't for my sample, excuse me, but I'm gonna tell you that it probably is gonna work out better for you if you do. All right, do I have these all out here? I think I have 2 packs of these. I do. So one will be for a giveaway later. All right, so there's 4 sets, and we're going to use this first one. And I think, yeah, so it has a number 1 right here. And we're going to set it up. I wanted to show you the process of setting this up. So I chose a space here that had lines that we could put this on. And now I'm going to set this up so that it sits inside of that paper. And we're going to take the little notch up here, and I'm going to pencil mark it so that the next one that I put on here, I'll know exactly where it goes. Okay. Now I can put my magnet on here, or I could put another piece of washi tape to keep this in place. All right, we're going to start with, see if I can remember what I used here. I forgot to get my pads out. We're going to start with soft sea foam as our base. And my lightest color brush here. I've got ribbon attaching itself. And this, you can lose some of your color in case you have too much. You can start out by just doing it right on your mask. Now this is a light color, so I'm not too worried about getting it too dark. So you can be pretty generous with it. However, I do want it to be a quiet color, and I want the layers to really show up on it. So I do want to definitely not make it a little too crazy. Notice how I'm doing a circular motion. That drops that down into that frame, into the mask, and gives you nice color at the edges of each edge of the mask, because that's what we really want to show. Now what you can do is just give it a little peek, see what you think. That looks pretty good. Looks a little light right up here. Okay, so I'm going to take that one off. I'm just going to clean that later with just a wet cloth. The next one, number 2, I'm going to line that right up in that same, like I showed you that notch. I'm just shoving it under my magnet here so that my pencil mark is visible. And I just pushed my paper when I did that. That was really good, Cindy. Okay, let's put this back on here. Again, it's good that I had this on these lines because obviously my washi tape didn't want to, I had just washed this mat, so it probably was a little bit wet, but let's not shove this again. We'll just lay it down carefully. All right, now we're going to switch colors, and I'm going to use garden green, but I don't want it to be real dark, so that one I'm going to try to keep it a little quiet. So I'm definitely going to come off here because you can see how bright that is right there. And then we'll just bring this in. And it's going to be darker anyways because it's going over top of the previous green that we did. So as we add this, that color just builds up. And now we get to take a peek and just see if it looks like what we want it to look like. All right, can you see those? Just going to zoom in here just a little bit and see if you can see the different layers. Notice how it didn't color everything. All right, so I like that. Let's go to our third one. Our third one, we're going to lining it up in that notch again. We're going to use Pretty Peacock, which is our cardstock background color. Just get rid of some stuff here. And you'll notice this is just going to fill in some different areas. Again, because it's all going over top of previous color that we've added. Ooh, I got that really dark there. Did you see that? That means I better get one dark over here so that at least it matches, right? We'll get these outliers here a little darker. Okay. I know I got too much color on that, but that's okay. It actually looks pretty good. Oops. Now, how'd you stick to that, you silly thing? We're not done here. We need you to stay in place. We got one more, guys. This is the coup de grace, I think. I'm very excited. So I am using, find it here. Where did you go? So I'm using a window sheet, and I just grabbed a little paintbrush. You can use any kind of paintbrush. I didn't want to get this on my water painters, and so I am not using that. I'm just going to be stippling a little color. So on our fourth one, we are just going to add some shimmer to it. So let me just get this in place here. All right. So I'm going to just shake this. This is a previous thing that we used to have, champagne mist. You could use our enamels, but I had a couple of these and I thought I'm going to go ahead and just do some of those. So I'm going to just put a little drop here. Don't need a lot. In class, it'll be nice because a lot of different people will be using it, and I won't feel like I'm wasting so much. But so I'm just going to pull this out here a little bit and just get the tip of it. I only want to do these little dots that are coming out here. I don't know if you can see those. There's little holes right here. I'm going to try just to get those. And this brush is nice and narrow, so I'm not getting anything around it, hopefully. On my sample, I did get some around it. I tried different things. I tried our sponge daubers, but they don't go down in as far as it needs to go, so they didn't show up. And maybe, just for fun, because I have tons of this out here, let's see if we can get these little dots around the center too. Why waste it, right? Why waste a shimmer when you have it? I might take the rest of this and put it in a spritzer, because I know I have a shimmer paint spritzer and I'm sure it could use a refresh. All right, are we ready to see how this looks? I sure don't need to get that on everything, huh? I love it. Now I'm going to try to get this at an angle where you guys can see it. Come on, lights. Let me see if I need my lights turned up here a little bit. There you go. You see that little bit of shimmer that we did? It's always hard on camera, but there we go. Now, I do need to clean this off right away, and the only thing I have in here is some alcohol wipes, so I'm going to just clean that real quick. Let me just clean the tip of this. You can just throw this in water and rinse it. But since I don't have water readily available, I'm just going to clean that and just make sure that I don't leave too much shimmer behind. All right, there we go. Okay, let's put our card together. That's going to take a minute to dry, so we'll get our other pieces. Let me just get our washi tape off of here. All right. And we are going to do some stamping. Let's see. I'm going to use these colors again. Just get some things out of my way here. So I'm going to take some of the snowflakes from this set, and we're going to add some to this. Now let me just think here. This has to go a certain way. Yeah, this is 4 inches wide, but it's 4 1/4 inches long. So this is going to be our top. So we're just going to add a little bit of snowflake stamps here, wherever you want to put them. All right, just you don't have to add that, but I love this stamp, and I think that it will actually enhance our card. And then I'm using the Joy to the World, and let me find the rest of my papers here, which I think I dumped into the container. There we go. I also pulled out some old glittery, some of our gold glitter paper. But you can use gold foil too. That would look fine. But I had these already cut, so it was easy enough to do that. This is a die from the set, and I need to zoom back out here so we can see what we're doing. It feels like things are getting dark, but maybe it's just my eyesight. So I'm going to do this in Garden Green. And I decided to cut 2 of these and just put them together to pull out that soft seafoam color there. And then our background is going to be Pretty Peacock. So we'll get that together here. All right, so this is going to go on first. And I'm going to just be careful because I know that could still be wet. And I don't really want to smear it all over the card. Yep, I see it. So this is going to go at the top. At the bottom, I have a small piece of the one of our snowflake designer papers. I can't think what that's called. I think it's the one that goes with the pine, the pine snowflake that I just used that for. And then I'm just going to add this on that joint area there. And we'll put a little bit of green glue. That was a little bit much. And we'll just put that right over that. All right. Now I think I just adhered this to this tag, and then we'll pop them both up together. I'm just dropping dimensionals now right into place, hopefully. And that's just going to go right in this area. And then we're going to use the green ribbon. I think that coordinates with this. This just came out. Look at it, a little chevron green. So pretty. And I'm going to use the new ribbon maker that my husband made for us. And we're going to tie a little bow here. So let me just get my end. I don't have my ribbon tamers on here yet. So this is going to cross. I'm going to cross the short piece in the front bring that completely around so that it ties around everything. And then I'm going to do a square knot here in the center, pop that off, and we have our perfect ribbon. Oh, there we lost a light already. Okay, so then I'm just going to add a glue dot here, and this card will be almost finished. And last but not least, I told you we were going to use these again, and I'm just using a gold one to go right here in the center. Be helpful if you put it in the center of our snowflake. What do you think? See all that gorgeous shimmer? All right, let's get to the next one. Okay, for our next project, we are going to be using the Rustic Centerpiece. We used this for a fall card back 2 months ago, I think. And I've been wanting to, thank you for zooming in there for me. I've been wanting to use the a Christmas version here. So this is what we're going to do tonight. And let me see, do I have my sayings? All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm using basic beige for to stamp that on. And I actually was able to use my Stampin' Scan and Cut to actually scan these out and get them die cut for everybody. So you will love me that they are already die cut so that you can just stamp them. We're going to ink that with Memento. And don't mind the mess here because this was all cut with the die cut machine, and hopefully I have this lined up okay. The reason I wanted to do it on the Stamparatus was mainly because on basic beige it needs stamped more than once. And when you want to do that, you almost have to have a stamp positioning tool. There we go. 2 I think looks pretty good there. So we'll keep that. Just get rid of this. And we're going to color this with our watercolor pencils. So I'm just going to throw on some greens. We have Old Olive here and Garden Green. So I'm not planning to use the watercolor technique with this. However, you certainly could. But then you would want to have stamped it with Stays On probably instead of Memento, because Memento is gonna run. And let's do some Garden Green on some of these. I just like mixing greens, especially when you're coloring in something like this where it's just all kinds of random little greens coming together. I feel like the lighting is not adjusting properly. Let me just zoom in and see if that helps. All right, the Old Olive is really dark. It almost looks like Mossy Meadow instead of Old Olive. Okay, now I'm going to use some early espresso for my little wooden yeah. There goes that old age thing. Little reindeer here. If you go along the grain of the wood, or you can do a circular motion with your pencil to create a softer a softer look. I'm not going to take a lot of time here because you all know how to color, right? And I keep my sharpener with me. I don't want them too sharp, but then I also don't want them too dull. So it's a constant, especially something like this that takes a bit of coloring, takes a bit of color, especially the brown, because we're using so much of it. I don't want to get my little candle there, so let's see if we can get in. All right, I think that's enough of that. I'm going to make the candle cherry cobbler. And I'm going to use the artist's lines here to create the darkest area. However, I really want this to stand out, so I'm trying to think. I also have some real red here. And I might use both just to get it really bright. Because our card base is real red, the cherry cobbler helps to add some darker tones to it, deeper. And then we're going to do a mixture of the greens again for our holly. And I just saw a little piece of my wooden base here that I want to make really espresso. And then I'm going to use pecan pie for the pot here. Maybe fill in the dirt a little bit. And I think I forgot to grab a yellow one for the flame. How could I do that, right? So I will have to grab that and do yellow for the frame. All right, let's go ahead and get this put together. This time I am showing you a designer paper that definitely is not available right now. This is called Tags and More. And I'll show you some samples that we did for the Stamp-A-Stack at Retreat. Really, really love this paper. And it is, yeah, I think that's one that's coming back on the 17th. So if you missed out on it, you still have a chance to get it before Christmas. And yeah, I really, really like this paper. Now I'm missing my red circle for here. And I'm hoping that it'll be okay without it. I'm really not liking, I feel like I need a little more. It almost looks like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. So I'm just going to try to add a little more fill here in the center. Maybe just do a little. Mix up those colors a little bit. There, I think that's better. I just felt like it just wasn't quite alive enough. And we're going to pop this up. I've got tons of just little pieces of dimensionals everywhere. Need to get them used up. We'll put some of these smaller pieces up here. Don't want to have anything sagging, do we? All right, you stay there. I just want to use this other piece just because I'm tired of messing with this piece. Get those things off of there. We have one more right here. All right. I'm probably going to be sorry that I put this together without that circle, but I think we might not need it. I'm going to keep this down a little bit because this is not straight at all. Did you notice that? I'm going to try to straighten this a little bit. Just doing a little twisty twist here. Pretty sure I cut it straight. There, that looks better. Okay, so we're going to use this for our banner. And I think that I forgot to grab the stamp for that. Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, just throw things around there, Cindy. And I just need my real red pad. And we're going to add, let me do the bow first. So I want to add a bow to this little guy. And I love this ribbon so much. This came out, I think, in September. It's called Irregular Weave Trim. And I don't want a big bow, so I'm going to just, let me see what size I need here. Something like that. And I'm going to actually just use half of it. So we're just going to trim down the center. I know we're getting long, but I promise you that the last one will be, I think, a little bit quicker. Doesn't have as many techniques on it as these last 3 projects have had. So I'm just going to fold those together. That's probably a little bigger than I want, so let me just scoot this. And then I'm just going to tie this with some twine, linen thread. This is where it would be much easier to, let's get this put on a glue dot. If we stick this on, it's going to be way easier to tie. Get you in place there. Now, let's just tie a little knot here. Don't want to waste too much thread. Maybe tie one more time just to make sure that it stays in place. There we go. Let's get some scissors, some ribbon scissors here. And then we can just trim this a little bit here. There we go. Now he's got his little bow on. All right. Now, last but not least, we're going to stamp our greeting on here. I'm going to ink this with real red, just using my ink spot. I'm going to keep this over here so that when it tucks under my tree, it's not going to be hidden. And I might have to just lift this a tad. Okay. And then I can tuck that like so. And I did grab my yellow pencil so that I can color in my flame. And then we're going to add gems. We're going to use our transparent dots in Garden Green. There. And that is it. It's just a fun little funky Christmas card. And I did tell you that I want to show you some other paper, some other cards with that paper. Let me just get zoomed back out here. It's not going to zoom. Can you please zoom back out? Thank you. No, 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 there's nothing to see there. It wanted to show you that. Okay, so just to remind you, I think last Monday I did this card, and that was with this paper as well. So I have all the dimensions on here, but also in the last video. So if you look up last Monday night's video on Facebook, I don't think that I have this one on YouTube yet, but I promise it's going to get there. With retreat and everything, I probably didn't get all of that done. But here's a few more of the cards that we did with this designer paper. And you can see why I love it so much. All the little pieces come out of that. Of course, these Christmas sayings are the same ones that I showed you in the last project. But yeah, lots of fun things that you can do with all of this paper. And it has all these little die cut pieces in it. So yeah. All right, guys, we're going to pop to the last card and then I will stop bothering you.